All right, guys. So I'm gonna share with you exactly how it all began as far as like the business itself. So I was working in the ICU as a registered nurse when this all happened. And if you watch my previous video, you'll notice kind of my story and all that. But anyway, I was a registered nurse working in the ICU, and I realized that I wasn't in the right field for me. It just was not what I wanted to do. I always knew I needed to figure out a business idea or something. I just needed to figure it out. I was tired of working for someone else, having a boss telling me what to do, and so on. So basically, I just didn't know what to do, right? And so in the past, I tried to do different things that didn't work out. One of which was online personal trainer, and maybe I didn't do it right. Maybe I didn't put enough effort. I just didn't make it successful, so I kind of stopped that. So then I decided, I had talked to a guy in the past, and he told me, "Hey, man, just do something in service. Do a service-based business. You know, anything from cleaning carpets to cleaning a pool to cleaning up someone's yard. I mean, cut their grass, you name it. Just something service." So I started kind of to just think, right, of all the different service industries that I could get into. And so I was thinking about a different ones and this and that. But a buddy of mine's, really good friend of mine's, his dad did pest control. And so, I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey man, can I go on a ride along with you and kind of see what you do, what it's all about?" And so I went on a ride along. I got to see what he was doing on the daily. And it honestly seemed pretty easy to me at the time. Remember, my background is sales. I was just a nurse because I wanted to get out of sales. But my background is sales, so I knew I could sell whatever I decided to go into. I was very confident in myself in regards to selling. So then I was like, man, pest control is the one for me. Like this, I can do. And so I started to kind of look into how to do it, and I came across a lot of obstacles. I realized that in order to become a pest control operator, you had to work for a company for 3 years before you can get your own license. And that was the only way to really make it happen, right? Without the license, you cannot perform pest control. So I started to figure it out. And then I reached out to the same person that took me on that ride along. And I was like, "Hey, man, can I work for you for 3 years? And then after that, I kind of go on my own and figure it out." Come to find out, I did exactly that. By the way, I'm kind of speeding it up, but you need to understand the principles here. Number one, I thought of different ideas that I could do, right? From pool cleaning to lawn care and so on. And I didn't know much about business in general, so I didn't know the right things to look for, which today I do, and I'm going to be sharing all of that with you in this course. But at the time, I just knew I could do pest control. It was easy and I could sell it, right? But I had to go through the 3 years of working for someone before I can get my own license. So I plan on working for him on my days off as a nurse. So you work 3 days as a nurse, 3 12s, and then the other 4 days I plan on working for him for free, basically, just to learn how to do it. I mean, it was just completely new to me. I didn't know how to treat bugs. I didn't know anything about bugs. I didn't know anything, just nothing. So I started to do exactly that. He decided to do it with me. And he even went a step further and actually allowed me to basically run my own business under his company. And long story short, it ended up not working out, right? So it didn't work out, guys, because he didn't realize that I was really committed to making it grow. Like, I started a website, I logoed the vehicle that I was using, and he didn't have any of those. He was an old school guy, and he had an unbranded vehicle. He had no website. He just, through the years, built a company for himself. I was taking it serious to really do it correctly. Long story short, with that, partnership ended. Here I am with like 15 accounts, which I acquired in that time. And now he drops me and I have no license. Nothing. I'm not able to perform my tasks legally. So I started to do some research and I met some people or a guy that had a license and he wasn't using it. And I offered to pay him to be my employee, right? And I could use his license and therefore I could run my business, because your business and your license are two separate entities. But your business without that license, it's nothing. But when you have both, boom, you're legally able to do pest control. Anyways, I paid this kid to be my employee. I used this license to continue my business, and I was finally able to get it off the ground correct. I was able to find the real name for myself and not have to run it under someone else's company name. Like, it was a real legit business. The biggest downfall of it is it cost me a lot of money to pay this guy for his license, which I was working as a nurse and paying all of my bills, and whatever extra I had was going towards this, paying this kid for his license, right? And so that's kind of how I started it all, guys. And that's the big thing, right? Just getting started, right? And like I said, I had about 15 accounts because I knew how to sell. And all I did at the time was just go business to business, offering my services, like apartment complexes and offices and restaurants and some residential accounts. But that's how it all started. That was how it went from zero to starting, okay? I was in the nursing ICU. I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. I looked for ways of different businesses to start. I met someone that actually was doing it. I went on a ride along. I realized I could do it. Then I figured out how to do it by finding someone with the license, paying him to be my employee, and basically license my business so that I could go out there and actually do it legally. Once I had that, then it just takes off. You just go get accounts, which is the hardest thing and the only thing that matters in business. Accounts. You could have any business. You could have the perfect truck, the perfect setup, and you have no one to service. You got nothing. So the accounts is the number one thing that matters. But that's how I started. That's how it all began. That's how I was able to license my business. I was working as a nurse 3 days a week, and then I would build my business on 4 days that I had off. With that also, I would like to add that I was living in an efficiency, which is basically a garage made into an apartment, right? So I just had like a 1-bedroom and a bathroom and a small kitchen, and I was able to keep my expenses really low and live really, really below my means while I was building my business. But remember, I was still not a loser. I was a registered nurse. I was making okay money, right? So I'm working 3 days a week as a nurse, living under my means, and building my business on the side with my 4 days off. There's a lot of principles to pick up from here, guys, okay? And so that's how I did it. That was step one. That's literally step by step how it all began, my living situations, how I did it. Yeah, I hope that helps to kind of put into perspective what it takes to even get it off the ground. The biggest thing that I will also share is not just having the business, is being able to perform it. Like, you have to create time for your business. So if you got to downgrade your living to make time for it, that's a must. And so, yeah, that was step one. Step one was getting the license, finding out which business I wanted to do, and just getting it off the ground and getting about 15 to 20 accounts off from the start, which I believed in myself by just going to businesses and offering my services. I hope that helps, guys. I'm going to see you with the next video to give you the next steps.